From Dan Patterson, Chiefs trade up for Micah Parsons if he starts to fall. So, linebackers still kind of an area I kind of want to see more from Willie Gay at this point. The problem here for me is that if Micah Parsons starts to fall, it's probably because the character concerns around what happened at Penn State and some general immaturity comments I've heard from guys like Bucky Brooks of NFL.com. It means that the NFL does not trust the character. And I don't really want to go get that type of guy and sacrifice future draft capital. So my mindset of Parsons is this, is if he starts to fall, you probably don't want him. And at that point, probably not a guy you want to go up to go trade for. So talent-wise, fit-wise, I'm intrigued. But I fear the only way you could get him is if you don't actually want to get him. From Potato Aim 25, what a name. Toney to KC or Terrace Marshall. Love the vids. Keep it up. Thank you, my friend. Hope Leatherwood falls to the second round. Possible on Leatherwood. Wouldn't get my hopes up too high, though. I also very much could see KC, though, going with a Toney or a Terrace Marshall. I've mocked them Toney before. They love adding playmakers on the offense. I could totally see him doing it again in this year's draft.
Let's go to Stress and Sammy. Thoughts on the Chiefs adding Aldon Smith? So this is a pretty interesting question. And also, if anybody has any Chiefs questions out there, please go subscribe to our channel, youtube.com/ChiefsTV, or you can hit up my man, H. Graham NFL on Twitter. He runs our Chiefs channel. Aldon Smith is a very interesting player to me. Like, could he add some talent to Kansas City? Yes, absolutely. And it's kind of funny because, Taco Charlton was a player that really flamed out in Dallas, ends up going to Kansas City, and ends up being a halfway decent player. If you show me the tape of Aldon Smith in September, you're like, this is one of the best edge rushers in the National Football League. You show me Aldon Smith's tape from October, November to December, you're like, where did this guy go? Like, he totally fell off a cliff, and that scares me a little bit. But if you're trying to be KC and you're trying to be able to do another project on Taco, I'd be at least open to it. But the only way I'm going to bring him in is for a cheap deal. Like, that's the only way I'm open to Aldon Smith. So go ahead and spam the comments. I want you to shout out your city. Let me know where you guys are watching from. We know we have a lot of different viewers here at Chat Sports, and we know we get people far and wide. And you know what, man? I always appreciate the amount of people we get here watching our shows. We get people in different countries as well. So what I want you to do is shout out your city. And then when you're shouting out your city, now I can see where you guys are watching from. But this is what I want you to do. Go ahead and download the Newsbreak app. So I don't care where you guys are watching. We got people in Dallas, Detroit, Charlotte, Las Vegas. I'm looking at the live chat right now. Whatever your city is, go download the Newsbreak app. That way you can stay up to date on the latest news, what's going on with weather. I mean, for us right now in Dallas, Texas, there's a tornado warning. You know how I found that out? The Newsbreak app. Go to chatsports.com/newsbreak. Download the app. That way you're staying up to date on everything going on. If you want to know what's going on in pop culture, you got that as well. Looking for some cool places to eat, that's there as well. Even more sports content. That's not just Chat Sports. If you want even more sports content from us, we're also on the Newsbreak app. So go to chatsports.com/newsbreak. I promise y'all, it is your one-stop shop for everything going on in your city. And again, it doesn't matter what city you're in. It doesn't matter what your zip code is. Newsbreak is an awesome app to be able to have. So one more time, you got to go to chatsports.com/newsbreak. You have to use that link. That way we get credit. So I'm just being honest with you. I'm trying to be transparent. It helps us out when you use that link. Local news and weather, politics, food, pop culture, sports content. And if you want to find more sports from us, all you got to do, download the app, look in that search bar, type in Cowboys Report, Raiders Report, 49ers Report, whatever your favorite team is, look it up in that search bar, and I guarantee you'll like what you get.
From Ray Martinez, biggest jump in first-round prospect right now. Where does he go? From the conversations in the past month, the media, myself included, have caught up on Jamin Davis, the linebacker from Kentucky. I think he goes round 1. Probably not top 15, top 25, top 20. That could be in play. So keep an eye out on Jamin Davis from Kentucky, a linebacker. A super chat here from Burnin' Spades, his mock draft here. Lawrence 1, Wilson 2, Fields 3, Pitts 4, Chase 5, Waddle 6, Smith at 7, Sewell at 8, Tan at 9, and Pay at 10. I hate the number 10 pick. If the Cowboys draft Kwity Paye at 10, just fade me now. I hate that idea. Otherwise, a good mock draft. From Jake F., where do the quarterbacks go after the Darnold trade? Good question. Quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3. Let's say it's Mac Jones at 3. Falcons go quarterback at 4. I think Denver's going to have their chance for a quarterback at 9. If Jones does not go 9, or does not go 3, New England could move up to go get their quarterback as well. Question for you guys now. Who has had the best offseason so far? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. If you get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your votes in. From Elijah, where does Najee Harris land? So a couple teams are out there. Jets could be in play. The Falcons in round 2 kind of seem like his floor as far as I'm concerned. Steelers, Bills in round 1 as well. Those 4 teams make the most sense to me in terms of Najee Harris destinations. From I am Javarius, if you had Mahomes and Tom Brady was on the draft board, would you pick Tom or a bust at a needed position? Well, why are those my 2 options? Why can't I trade the pick or take someone I don't think is going to be a bust? Like I don't like the premise behind that, because if my options are good player who won't play or bad player, just trade the pick.
Moot Shane, if DK Metcalf were in this draft and both him and Kyle Pitts were available, who would you take? I mean, I'm going to take DK Metcalf because I know what DK Metcalf is, and it's not really that fair of a question. But if you're telling me right now I get a top 5, top 6, top 8 receiver in the draft, you take that guy. Do I think DK Metcalf benefits from being in an offense like Seattle? Yes, I do. Do I think he benefits from having a quarterback like Russell Wilson and having somebody up opposite of him like Lockett? Yes, I do. But Kyle Pitts is a very good player. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be a little bit better of a version of Darren Waller, so it depends what you value that as. I personally don't take tight ends that high, and if you are going to take a tight end in the top 10, he better be somebody like a Travis Kelce. He better be somebody like a Darren Waller, or he better be like somebody like a George Kittle, which I actually think he could be, but I'm going to take DK Metcalf. All right, we got AJ Evans. Hope you're staying safe from the tornado. How far do you see Caleb Farley falling? Maybe to round 2. I could see Caleb Farley falling to round 2. The back concerns are definitely up there. Round 3 would surprise me, but then again, we've seen very talented players fall to round 3. So we'll ultimately see. But I'd be shocked if he's not picked in the top 50, and I think his floor is somewhere around like pick 60. Let's go to Kosh. What up, my man? I saw a statistic that Baker is actually the most accurate deep ball in a Twitter account called QB Stats, who would be your top 5 deep ball passers. Well, I mean, obviously, if it's on Twitter, it has to be true, right? I mean, is your source Big Sills? Because if it is, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, maybe this past year, Baker was a good deep ball thrower, but I'm not going to say it has so much to do with Baker. I'm going to say it has more to do with that offensive line and more to do with that running game, really being able to open things up. And teams are really trying to stack the box up against Baker. If I were to go through my top 5 deep ball throwers, just for you, I'll put Baker in there, even though I don't really think it's going to be there. I'll go with Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. I'm actually going to throw Derek Carr in there, who had a pretty good year this past season throwing the ball down the field. And then let's throw out another name, as I'm totally blanking. Who? Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, let's go with Aaron Rodgers. All right, let's go to Demons75. Do you think Jalen Mayfield is a first-round or early second to mid-second round pick? What team do you think would be most or best fit for him? I think the Chiefs. I do think the Chiefs would be a good fit for him. I personally wouldn't take Jalen Mayfield in round 1. And it has not so much to do with him. It's more to do with the amount of depth at the offensive tackle position. He has high upside, but he's still a little bit of a baby in terms of development overall. Overall, very athletic player from Michigan. But I could see him falling out of the first 50 picks because of the depth and the depth only. I mean, we got to think about it. This is one of the more deep classes in terms of offensive line talent. So just keep that in mind. Let's go to Daniel Shigog. Who is your favorite day 3 prospect? My favorite day 3 prospect. It's a good question. I'm going to go with a guy like Javian Hawkins, who's a running back that I've done a lot more research on. He's a running back from Louisville. Let's go with a player, Larnell Coleman, offensive tackle from Massachusetts. I'm trying to think of the receiver from South Dakota State, what his name is. I believe he's going to get taken on day 3. He's like a sneaky little slot receiver. I thought he had a pretty good pro day. I would have originally said Quinn Miners, but he's definitely going to go a lot higher now. Caleb Johnson, that's Cade Johnson. That's definitely that's the guy from South Dakota State. Those are probably the top guys off the top of my mind right now. But we'll see some other guy. Who's the guy from Auburn who ran that insane 40 time, 4.26? Anthony Schwartz. He's another guy that I think is pretty interesting. So what do y'all think is the biggest rivalry in the NFL? There's a lot of big-time rivalries in sports. There's no doubt about it. Like when I think of baseball, I think of the Yankees and the Red Sox. When I think of basketball, I still think of the Lakers and the Celtics, even though maybe it might be a little bit different now. But when I think of the NFL, I have a lot more rivalries that come to my mind. I mean, I think of the Steelers and the Ravens. I think of the Saints and the Falcons. I think of teams like the Raiders and, I don't know, like the Chiefs would be a good one. The Seahawks and the 49ers. Like, there's a lot of really big-time rivalries out there. The Eagles and the Cowboys. What do you think is the biggest rivalry in the NFL? I want you to go down and comment it below.